Hi, this is Mashnul, and let's see if I can find a 15 minutes game here on ChessCube. Let's see. This one wants to play only for 2000 qubits, and my balance is not that high, so I cannot do that. Let's see, there's 10 minutes here, 1956. Okay, 10 minutes game against Sloba 52 from Serbia. So Queen's Gambit, knight to c3. What will he do? Knight f6 or c6 or something else. I played this morning a 15 minutes game and I made such big mistakes. Knight f3. So I had an attack, but I chose the wrong move order, and instead of getting a winning position, I got a losing position. Let's see, bishop to d6. I could see if I can play queen to c2 and then g4. This it's a very nice variation. If it takes on c4, then I have a strong center with e4, or I play a4 first to prevent b5, things like that. Okay, so a4 first. B6, so he wants to play bishop to a6 perhaps. Okay, then he may keep the pawn. If he plays bishop to a6, okay, then I play simply e5, preventing his knight from going to f6, opening this diagonal here, having a square for my knight. Okay, so now he's attacking, he's spinning my knight. If I play bishop to d2, bishop d2 followed by knight to e4, yeah. I wonder if this is a good idea of black to try to defend this c4 pawn so much, because all his pieces are now, like his bishop is now staying there on the defense of c4. Well, it's not really getting much play. Let's see how to retake here, with bishop or with pawn. With pawn I will reinforce d4 very well. If I take with queen, I can take on c4 later. Let's see, if I take with pawn, I'll have a half open b file. My a4 pawn will be a bit weak. If I take with c4, b takes c3, and he plays c5, then I have queen to e4, attacking his rook. He cannot place anything on b7 or c6, so I don't need to be worried about c5. I'll reinforce my d4 point like this. So now an idea could be to play knight g5, knight e4, knight d6, and I think that this is good. Yes, looks like a very good plan. Okay, and now how is he going to prevent knight d6? There is no way. So I'll have a very strong piece there. He didn't see my plan, that's what happened. I played knight g5 and he played automatically h6, thinking that I wanted to take on h7. But he didn't see my my idea of going to e4 and d6. So now he will think a bit longer, because he's a bit shocked by the consequences now, so he needs to restructure his thoughts and find some plan. But in the meantime, I can see how I want to continue, because I would like so much to have my bishop on f3, but it's not easy to get there. Okay, now I need to give the check immediately on d6 before he castles, so his king stays in the middle. So knight d6 check. Okay, now let's see. I cannot move my bishop from f1. Then he takes on g2. f7 is the weakest point now in his position, but how to get there? Perhaps queen d1, queen h5? No. Yes, knight g6 or g6 anyway. If I play bishop to e2 and he takes on g2 and then I castle queenside, he can take on f2. I could then play bishop h5 followed by rook to f1. That looks like a wild attack. I'll do it. Let's see what happens. Oh, wait a minute. He can also play knight to f5 to trade this knight. Or perhaps I need I cannot play g4 because my rook hangs. Okay, I'll go for bishop e2. It's risky, very risky. Oh, but he doesn't. Okay, he doesn't take on g2. So now simply bishop to f3, and I win his queen. Okay, okay, of course, he has a5 still. But his queen is now really out of play. Really out of play. So this looks good for me. Now how to continue? This take on c6? No, I cannot. Knight on a7. I can... how can I get here? Queen to e4, followed by queen to f5, f4. I think this is the most direct way to get to f7. Okay, now he's threatening something to take here, and is preventing me from going to f4 with my queen. So I'll defend. This is 3 pawn, because if this pawn falls, then I'm in trouble, because then his c pawn can advance, his bishops get active. So I prefer to give up this pawn. Yeah, or rook to a3, but rook a3. This b5 then. So rook c1 and allow him to take here. Yeah. How can I make use of his bad placed king? Can I sacrifice on f7? Knight on king takes f7 and then bishop h5 check. The king goes to g8. And I have queen g6, threatening queen f7, so he plays rook to f8 perhaps, then I can take on e6. Well, that's an interesting sacrifice. Knight takes f7. This move it's his move now, so let's see what he does. His queen is totally out of play. His light squared bishop is totally out of play. His rook on h8 is out of play. Now my rooks aren't active as well, but eventually I could try later also rook lift with h4, rook h3, rook g3 to attack the king side here. Okay, now so he saw this idea of sacrificing on f. Can I still take on f7 if it takes? No, I don't have really something then, huh? What about playing h4, h5 now? h4, h5. If I play h4, he might play h5 himself to stop me from continuing. Then I could go rook h3, rook g3. It's not easy to see how to continue the attack. Perhaps bishop d1 with the idea of playing queen to f3, or bishop d1, bishop c2 and queen f3. Then the threat bishop takes g6 and also the threat of mating on f7. That could be a way to rearrange my pieces. Yeah, bishop d1. If you place f5, then I take en passant, and then I take on e6. Oh no, wait a minute. Is that? Oh yeah, that's good. Okay, he's defending well. Okay, I'll play queen to f3 anyway. Now he will play a rook to f8, but then h6 might become weak, so perhaps he needs to use this rook to f8. Yeah. Now bishop to c2, and then perhaps queen to g4. The idea is again to sack on f7 and then take on g6 if this is possible. It's interesting how he finds defensive resources. Okay, now he wants to bring his queen back to the defense. Let's see. If I play queen g4 or h4, h5. If I play h4, he play h5 himself. But anyway, I need to activate this rook as well, so h4. If he plays h5, I might play bishop to g5. Okay, he allows me to play h5. Interesting. To open up his position. Now I need to play queen to g4 first before I take on g6. So after retaking I can take on e6 or on g6. g6 looks a little stronger because it's checkmate. So queen g4 threatening take, queen takes g6 mate. It's an interesting game. You see the consequences of wanting to defend the c4 pawn with his bishop a6, and he lost so much time, and now his king is in trouble here. and he didn't see my plan of going to with a knight to g5, e4, d6. That was his mistake, but I wonder if I made a mistake myself and I could have attacked better. So I'll review this with an engine, because engines see always this kind of tactical options. Okay, now he plays g5, rook h3, followed by rook g3, and then eventually sacrificing on g5 my bishop. It looks as if he's defending all these squares very well. I need to play f4 somehow. So queen g4 perhaps. Queen g4 followed by f4. Yeah, that looks like a good idea. Okay. Perhaps my knight can go to e4 and then sacrifice on g5 as well. There are many options. I have only 1 minute 24 seconds, so I need to start playing fast. He has 2.5 minutes. But I have the initiative. More often the defensive player is the one who needs to be careful. Let's see, can I play f4 now? f4. Yeah, I think it's good. f4. f6. Okay, if I take here, it's check. Oh, can I take on g5 now? Oops, last seconds. I have only 1 minute. Square g6 is his most weak point. He must take now on g5, then I can play queen to e4. Queen to e4, yeah. Threatening mate on g6. Exciting moments. How will he defend? He cannot defend that point. So he must move his rook away so his king can flee, but he cannot really, because I have the f-file as well. I think this is a one position completely now, but I might be missing something. Now this is, I don't see a way to save it for him. If he plays rook f6, I take here with check first. Then he takes with knight, attacking my queen, and my knight is on pre. So perhaps that could be a solution for him, to play rook f6. Rook f6, take, then the rook f, this is, no, this cannot be good. I simply take here, then I take here, and then rook f1. If he takes with queen, yeah, rook f1. Knight f4 now. He might try it, but he's lost anyway. Yeah. Okay, I'll do a review of this game and analyze. I mean, using the engine. So after the game finished, I'm going to copy this game to the clipboard and then paste it on my Fritz engine. Okay, so it's run out of time now. Okay, let's copy the PGN. Copy PGN. I'm sorry, I'll decline. I'm sorry. I just want to analyze this game first. So let's go away here. Log out. Oops. Okay, so you can see here, down here, the outcome of the first two lines of the engine outcome. Let's go through the game. D4, D5. Now here what the engine says is not interesting, because this is just the opening and this is theory. Queen C2 takes, now A4, B6, E4 controlling the center, bishop to A6. He wants to defend this C4 pawn, and I played E5 immediately. Bishop B4, bishop D2, and now he takes on C3. And here you see, I don't know if this is big enough to see, but you see this is the evaluation of the position. It says equality to a slight advantage for white after knight to e7, and if we do the move that he did, then it jumps to 0.71, so that means that the advantage of white starts becoming bigger and bigger now. B takes, queen to d5. You see this, in fact he is breaking one of the rules that we learned, that we shouldn't bring out the queen so quickly in the game, so early in the game, and it's better to first develop the pieces and castle. So here the best move is knight to d7, so this knight moving to d7, sorry, this knight to d7 or knight to e7, the other one to e7 to prepare castling and developing the pieces. This knight can go to f5, for example, later after g6. So here is breaking one of the basic rules. Knight to g5. Now that's interesting that the computer doesn't agree with this move. It says that h6 here is the best move for black. That's what he did, and then he gives two options, knight to h3 and knight to e4, and I don't quite understand why he doesn't agree with knight to e4, because it looks so beautiful to bring the knight from e4 to d6, so there must be something that I didn't see. Okay, it's here. He says that now c5 is a good move for black, but still the advantage for white is there, the 0.5, let's say. c5, now it rises to 1.1, so actually this is simply good for white. So this is what happens when you run the engine. You have to let it run a few seconds more, because then it discovers new things. And there is still chess engines always can calculate until a certain point. Like here the depth of calculation is 14/39. I think that means 14 moves depth and then 39 variations in that, something like that. Here the depth is 15 moves. So well, there is always a horizon. Okay, so then the more you let the engine run, the further away this horizon of calculation, so the more accurate the calculation becomes. But on the same the same logical idea is that humans, when we calculate, we have an horizon, but we have one thing that engines don't have, and that is our strategical understanding of a position. By saying this, for example, if I go back a few moves here, when I move knight to g5, I already saw that knight to e4, knight d6, that the knight on d6 would be a very strong piece. Now, apparently, the engine wants to calculate all this before he draws the conclusion that this is a correct plan. So humans have, in that way, an advance compared with engines. We can think in let's say general ideas, and computers don't. They just calculate. King f8, bishop to e2, knight to d7. Oh, wait a minute, what happened here? He says that he could take on g2. Now what happens then? Queen to g2, takes g2. This was the moment where I gambled a bit, and I thought that here castling queenside, yeah, that's the correct thing to do. And then c5, c5, rook d to g1 or rook h to g1. I wanted to play the rook to g1. My idea was that he cannot take on f2, because then I play queen to e4, winning the rook there. So he must go back with the queen to d5. Okay, and now it changes his mind. This is what happens when he starts now looking further than his first horizon. So now he says, okay, after rook to g3, white has big advantage. And once more, when I played bishop to e2, I'll go back to that moment, I saw that he could take here, and I just did some short calculation and then thought, okay, but I get the g file, it's been opened, so this must mean attack for me even if I lose some pawns. Okay, knight to d7 was played, bishop f3, queen a5, queen to e4, knight to d5. Here, let's see, the computer says bishop to h5. He likes that move, bishop h5. Then my move, rook to c1, it still gives advantage for white, but it's not his favorite move. Let's see bishop to h5. What is the idea of this? Well, of course, to take on f7. And now, yeah, if g6, then there is a sacrifice, of course, on f7 or on g6 immediately. Let's have a short look. If g6, then knight takes f7. If it takes on h5, then then I take the rook, of course, so he must take on f7 in fact. But then I take on g6 and it's all over. Oh, that's an interesting attacking idea. I didn't see this bishop h5. I was concerned about his threat and thought that it would be necessary to stop his threat first. So rook c1 I played. Now he plays g6 and I continue with bishop to d1, and that is a slow way of continuing the attack. Actually playing h4 or queen to h4 has the priority of Fritz. Okay, because I played bishop d1, still advantage for white, but not that big. Well, above a 1 point is big advantage. King g7, queen f3, rook a to f8, and at this point my advantage diminishes, he says. Bishop c2 is one of the moves that he advises. And now here he should have played c5 instead of b5. He played b5 in the game, and then the advantage becomes big again. So c5 would be a way to get some counterplay then. Interesting, because this was, I think, the moment in the game where when I said something like, okay, perhaps he has some defenses of f7 and he's controlling this this square. So I wasn't sure how to continue here. So what I did was bishop c2 and b5 was played. Now h4, still good advantage for white. Queen d8, h5, g5, queen to g4. I had a better one here. Rook a1 or a takes b5, or queen to g3, he says. Queen to g3. What's the difference between queen to g3 and queen to g4? I played queen to g4. He says queen to g3 was a good move. I don't quite see the difference. Let's see how it continues after queen to g4. It says that b4 is a good idea for... Oh, wait a minute, let's see. He gets some counterplay on the queen side. Is it true? If I take on b4, what's the idea? Is to play c3. I must go with my bishop to e3. And now I can play either knight takes b4 or f5. f5, I must take here. And then queen takes. Okay, so he has enough defenses here, defensive forces here. And actually this position is equal according to the engine. Oh, so this was the right way for him to play. He played queen to e7, and I continue with f4. That is the best move. f6, take. Now the advantage for white is more than 4 points, so this is totally lost for him. Here, in fact, there is no. Oh, here I thought that rook to f6 was perhaps an idea, but it fails because after e takes, check. And then my idea was that he might take with knight here, but then in g6 I can give this check and then it's all over. Yeah, king to f8, cancelling, and then I can take on f6. Even if he takes here, I can take on f6. If he doesn't take my knight, perhaps rook g8 is what the engine says, but still it's all won. Yeah, it's completely won. Yeah, there is nothing to do here. Queen to g7, queen takes g7, rook takes g7, rook c to e1. So actually all this is all collapsing now. e6 is falling, and then everything starts collapsing. Okay, let's go back to the last part of the game. Rook f7 was played, check, and then it's game over after rook to f1. Okay, now I hope you found it interesting to see how I use this engine Analyze to get some new ideas, especially tactical things are easily discovered by chess engines. General strategical plans, that's something that for that you need a human player to analyze your games, because this general strategic plans are things that are not explained by engines. Chess engines just give you variations based on their calculations, but if you want to improve your chess, that's not the only thing that you need. You need also someone to explain you why a certain plan is better than another plan. So that's something that well, we cannot use engines for. Alright, thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you next time on YouTube. Goodbye.